And now let's talk about what's happening in the world of tech. American big tech giant Google is in trouble, this time in South Korea. South Korea has fined Google $32 million because Google tried to eliminate a rival platform in South Korea. This fine is basically punishment for Google trying to establish a monopoly. And it's not limited to South Korea, this practice. Multiple countries have fined Google because it wants to be the only player in the business. Our next report tells you more.
Google tried playing a game in South Korea. It thought it could kill competition and get away with it. But South Korea's antitrust regulator caught the American big tech giant red-handed. Now, Google has been asked to cough up $32 million. Here's why the tech behemoth is being fined. It's blocked the release of video games on a competitor's app store. Why? So that the games would exclusively be available on Google Play Store. South Korea's Fair Trade Commission has accused Google of a lot, but mostly for using its clout to derail the business of a rival company called One Store. Google reportedly asked major game companies like NC Soft and Netmarble to release their games only on Google Play. It offered many of these companies a quid pro quo arrangement. Companies release their games exclusively on Google's App Store. In turn, Google promotes their games. It also promised to provide necessary support abroad so that the games get traction in foreign markets too. This practice went on from 2016 to 2018. In 2018, South Korea's Fair Trade Commission launched a probe against Google. The probe has now culminated with the regulator asking Google to pay up $32 million. Google's actions obviously hit One Store hard. One Store was unable to attract new games. There was a drop in sales between 2016 and 2018. And in the same period, Google's revenue in South Korea jumped to more than $13.5 billion. Google has denied the allegations of wrongdoing. It says it does not stop other platforms from competing with it. But the Fair Trade Commission is very sure of its case. It says it has internal memos, documents, and emails that show Google indeed tried derailing One Store's business. This isn't the first time Google has been in the crosshairs of antitrust regulators. In fact, not even the first time in South Korea. Last year, Seoul imposed a $50 million fine on it. What for? For violating privacy laws and not informing users or obtaining their consent when collecting and analyzing behavioral information. In 2021, South Korea fined Google $177 million for abusing its dominance in the Android market. Google has faced a lot of heat in India too. This was last year when India fined the tech giant $162 million for anti-competitive practices. The Competition Commission of India said Google leveraged its dominant position. It used it to protect its products like Chrome and YouTube from competitors. Google has landed in trouble in Europe too. In fact, Europe is particularly rough terrain for Google. Last year, the company was fined 4.1 billion euros. Any guesses why? Again, it abused its dominance of the market by imposing unlawful restrictions on Android phone manufacturers and mobile networks. In 2018, Google was fined a whopping $5 billion in Europe. So Google has been facing heat world over for misusing its market dominance and weeding out competition. And this has been going on for years. Yet, Google refuses to stop the practice. Evidently, the fines are not working. Perhaps it's time for countries to rethink their approach to tackle Google.